What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. As always, Hot Mess Espresso is very proudly sponsored by 502 Media. We have the iHeartRadio entertainment correspondent, also known as the host for Get Wrecked, and also known all over the internet as Straw Hat Goofy, my favorite anime aficionado, Juju Green. Hello.
Hey, hi. It's good to be here. It's great to talk to you for an extended period of time.
I know.
It's really great. I will tell you, I don't feel like an anime aficionado because I watch a lot of anime. Yeah, sure. But I'm almost exclusively like a One Piece guy. Like I can maybe get in a conversation about other things, but I'm usually using that to turn the conversation into One Piece. So it's not a fraud, but I will say that I am maybe a what's like a lower version of a fraud. It's not necessarily like tax fraud, but I guess it's like a little bit of a tax evasion. I think evasion is good. I think so. I think it's a little bit of.
I mean, I literally actually had a friend say today that One Piece was the greatest piece of fiction of all time. And
I said that. That was probably me.
that was actually no, it wasn't you. It was actually another friend of mine. So I'm just like, all right, all right.
Great friend. I've been saying this for years. I've been saying this for years. Like I agree, 100%. I'll put it up against any piece of fiction.
We actually met like once upon a TikTok live a long time ago, and it literally started because I was like, I don't really like anime. Yep. And you were just like, let me just hop back in that box and what?
Yep. I literally was like, I think I had something important to do too. And I said like, hold up, we need to fix this. What? Because I feel like you would love it based on our conversation. I was like, she would be like, I just assumed that, off of the conversation, I just said, oh yeah, she totally watches anime. Then you said you didn't. I was like, so you mean to tell me that this awesome human is only at 50% capacity? We got to get that to 100. We need to like have you be enlightened, ascend, so to speak.
Look, I've given it a solid college try. And the things that you have had me watch, I'm like, you know what? I dig it.
Yeah. Wait. So, you watched Your Name?
Yes.
And you didn't? You said you like watched a little bit of it and then you like started it again, right? Or did you watch it all the way through?
No, I watched it all the way through because the whole like plot twist and, the things that I can't talk about in case nobody has watched it. I'm not going to ruin it for people. But yes, that plot twist at the end. And
right.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really at the end. It was like kind of.
It was like in the middle.
Yeah.
It was like in the middle. Yeah.
Yep.
But tell the people what you thought about it, because I'm really excited to for the people to know that my recommendations aren't just
as somebody who literally has never gotten through an actual anime series a day in my life besides Sailor Moon, but I feel like that doesn't count.
Sailor Moon totally counts. It totally counts.
It does, but like it was like a kid's thing when we watched it. Like I will still watch Sailor Moon up and down. It's great.
Pokemon counts.
Pokemon does count. Yes.
See?
Pokemon's making a huge. I don't think Pokemon ever left, but Pokemon is making a huge comeback with like today's kids, and it's just like, oh, and now it's like fun because now we can buy all the cards our parents didn't let us buy and things like that. We're just like, let me just.
I still regret like not holding on to my cards when I had them as a kid, but it's okay. It's neither here nor there.
I am slowly getting a collection because anytime I'm having a bad day, my nephew thinks that he can fix it by handing off a Pokemon card. So he's fantastic. He's my favorite human.
So. Be a great therapist one day. Like just given this, that you go to his office, he gives you a Pokemon card, you feel better.
Right. I can't tell what his love language is, but it might be gift giving just because he's always like, here's like the little thing I got you. And I'm like, you're so sweet. But yeah,
I hope his love language is just Pokemon. Continue.
But yeah, Your Name took me for a freaking ride, and it was not a ride I expected. And I don't know how in depth I can get without like spoiling it. So I'm trying to like tread very lightly here, because I feel like anything you do say about like the quality of the movie and like why it's emotional roller coaster is a spoiler.
Yeah.
So it's
usually
just
when I get people into it, I literally just, because I don't get into the spoiler, I just, I say animation is sublime, the music is perfect, the story, you give them the basic rundown of the story, the premise, and then you say, that's all I can tell you, just watch the rest, because then you don't compromise the big twist that happens. But
That
I'll
big
say this.
twist though makes you pause it and go,
Hold up. Hold up.
you rewind it a little bit. You're like, did I just get
Yep.
this? Like,
Yep. It does
yep.
that. How did it make you feel? That's what I'm usually interested in hearing. Like when you finished it, how did you feel?
I felt like I'd been taken on a hell of an emotional roller coaster. I
Especially
was
when you
just
get to
like,
that ending. That ending
oh
is
my God, the ending.
yeah. That ending is one of the best cinematic endings that I've ever seen. It's iconic. It's beautiful.
Well,
It
weren't
brings
you able
everything together in the
to,
best way.
correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you wind up interviewing or meeting the director?
I did meet the director, yes, but
Yes.
it was in a Q&A setting. So like
Mm-hmm.
he was showing his latest film Suzume,
Mm-hmm.
and this was at the Academy Museum, and he shows the film. It's a great film, and they were doing a Q&A, and I was lucky enough to be picked. I was a pick me that day,
No.
glad to be a pick me that day, and I just basically spent half of the question praising your name and telling him how it's just a perfect movie and all those type of things. And I asked him about Suzume and everything. So in a way, yes, we've met, we've interacted, we've had a mini
Mm-hmm.
conversation. But in a one-on-one setting, no, not yet. I hope so. That would be like really, really cool because I'm a huge fan. Makoto Shinkai is his name. Makoto Shinkai is boss.
Yeah, absolutely. So take me through who Juju is. Like, what's your story from point A to now?
Ooh. Are we doing like full origin story? Are we doing that? Or are we like saying like career wise? Because
Oh, let's go full origin. People want to know who you are.
full origin story. All right, let's go. On a dark night after the opera in an alleyway. Sorry, wrong one. Sorry.
I can tell
That's
you're in cinematic, I swear.
that's my cinematic trailer voice. The origin of Juju Green, Straw Hat Goofy. How does such a dark child become a goofy man? Anyway,
It's amazing.
but I mean, when you really think about it, it's not really too far off. I just didn't have my parents die at an opera. Timothy Chalamet. Sorry, ADHD brain is going crazy right now.
Hey, we love it.
So it's going crazy. But anyway, the real origin story is I grew up in Compton, California. My grandmother actually raised me for a huge chunk of my life. Father and mother was not around. Mother, rumor has it, did a lot of drugs, a lot of substance abuse, and she actually maybe I am Batman. The rumor is that she left me and my brothers in an abandoned house to which my grandmother had to pick us up from.
Oh my God.
That's the story that I grew up with. My mom has since rejiggered the story a little bit to make it softer. But for all intents and purposes, she did leave us in a house alone when children, 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds, should not be left alone in a house to the point where my
Yeah.
grandmother had to give us. So grandmother got us, basically became our new guardian, raised us, single parent. And life in Compton was life in Compton. It was essentially like a Boys in the Hood series, like I don't know if you've ever watched Boys in the Hood. You're very white, Heather, but if you watch Boys in the Hood, let me know. Let's get a confirmation.
I'll
Have you
add it
seen
to
Boys
the
in the Hood?
list.
See,
I have
yep,
not.
there it is. Watch Boys in the Hood. So yes, so when you watch Boys in the Hood, you will understand that reference. For your other audience, or your audience that's listening, maybe they've seen it. But went to Caldwell Elementary, went to Walton Middle School, got really into basketball, really into basketball, and that was it. Basically my personality for like a majority of my life, to the point where it led me to go to Artesia High School because they had a wonderful basketball program. Turns out they won the state championship the year before, and I wanted to try and win it again, and that we did. I played basketball all 4 years, but we won the state championship my freshman year. I played with NBA superstar James Harden, future Hall of Famer. He was a senior. I was a freshman. I didn't play. He played a lot. So I helped him practice to help him win that championship. I will gladly hold that. But I was really good. I became captain for the next 3 years. And again, huge part of my personality until I stumbled across a awesome drama teacher named Mr. Miller, Philip Miller, who literally would have conversations with me about movies and storytelling. And he kind of like fostered that and made me realize that's what like I was always in love with. I always loved film, right? Like that was the only way that I could connect with people. I didn't really have a lot of interest in a lot of things. I was very, very heavily bullied
Mm.
from elementary school to middle school until I started getting good at basketball. But movies was always like how I started conversations with people. And so when I got to those drama classes, being able to like talk about those things like helped a lot. It made me realize that I actually had more to me than just this one thing I thought was going to get me out the hood. Um, and I also had a Troy Bolton moment. I've told this many times. I don't think I've ever told you,
I don't
but
think so, no.
yes, I had a Troy Bolton moment in high school. It was my senior year, and
Oh,
I
boy.
was the lead in the 12 Angry Jurors play, and I
Oh.
was juror number 8. And I was also the captain of the basketball team. And one day, opening night and my basketball game were on the same exact day.
No.
Dead serious. And so
Oh
I
my
had to
god.
choose which I was going to do. So obviously, I chose to play because we didn't have an understudy. So without me, there was literally like no play.
Mhm.
Our team literally had a co-captain. Shout out to you, Raymond Golar, also a Compton native as well. So we lost that game, but we won the hearts and minds of the theater goers who came to the production, and also a bunch of students who had to be there for extra credit.
Yeah.
Um, so that was my crossroads moment
Mhm.
where I realized I am actually more than just a basketball player. Wow,
Mhm.
I am Troy Bolton. So that was nice. Then I decided not to pursue basketball when I went to college. It was usually like, to find myself. Took me 3 years to figure out a major. I was a business major for a long time, and no shade to business majors, but you're only a business major because you don't know what you really want to do. A business is just kind of like an all-encompassing thing.
Mhm.
I got into business because I wanted to carry a briefcase. So that that tells you like where my head was at. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna
Mhm.
do, but wherever I end up, I'm gonna have a briefcase and a suit.
Mhm.
Business, it's a major. So I did that for five, let's say like 3 years into my college career. And then I finally spoke to my counselor because I hate speaking to people who can actually potentially help me. I thought it was weird
Why
at
would
the
we do
time
that?
because I was a loser. I was just kind of like nervous. I just had like massive anxiety towards that type of thing. But
Mhm.
eventually she was like, you don't really seem like a business major. You seem a little bit too outgoing. Like you should probably do communications. And I was like, sure,
Mhm.
why not? Anything will help. And then I discovered this world of communications. Guys, communications majors are dope. Like there's media production, there's news, there's PR, there's advertising, there's screenwriting. It's all the cool stuff, right? That's the funnest major ever. I don't care what anyone says. So did that, discovered this whole breadth of things that I was really interested in. And that's when I really wanted to do something that had to do with film and movies. But my aunt, who ended up like raising me from 14 on, and was basically she's a huge influence on how I'm able to operate as an adult. My grandmother basically took me when I was a kid, but my aunt and uncle were the ones who took me in later, and they taught me how to be an actual adult. So she was like, maybe being a screenwriter is not the most stable thing. And when you're coming up in Compton, we know you want stable. So
Mhm.
I was like, I'll get copywriter because it's in the advertising field and I can still write scripts and still do these like really cool things. It's not movie
Mhm.
making, but at least I get to get the creativeness out. Not
Yeah.
knowing that advertising also isn't as stable as we all would like it to be.
Mhm.
And I discovered that after I graduated, I got a job at an advertising agency at 72 and Sunny. 72 and Sunny, I was copywriter there. I rose to senior copywriter. And while I was there for 5 years, I saw at least 3 to 4 layoffs, went through 3 to 4 layoff rounds.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, wow, okay. But um during that, right? Like mind you, I'm senior copywriter at this point. I'm making good money. I don't have any ambitions to be a creative director because like the idea of heading up everything when I could just write and concept terrified me.
Mhm.
And so then we were doing a social media campaign for truth.org, getting the kids to stop smoking.
Oh boy,
Vaping.
that's a throwback.
Yeah, right. That was us. That was us. And the big thing was like getting kids to stop vaping and stuff like that. And Truth was like, just do a social media campaign. We don't care where, just like have it live somewhere. And that's when I discovered TikTok. And TikTok was like like kind of new. It just stopped being musically. People were just doing like lip syncs and the renegade dances and stuff like that. And yeah, I know, throwback, right? To the
That's
renegade.
another lifetime ago, I swear.
And it was only 5 years ago. Like, like it feels like forever ago.
6.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I decided just randomly, like, making the content for truth.org, we had to actually make TikToks for proof of concepts for the brand so they could see like
Mhm.
what we want to do. And eventually I was like, well, TikTok's just this kind of silly little fun app. So I started doing TikTok dances and bad lip syncs, and don't look back at those. They're terrible.
Oh, I am
But
so scrolling back.
do not scroll. It's very I think the renegade dance is like, I think I deleted that, but there's
Mm,
still some bad lip syncs that are there. It's yeah, no.
beautiful.
But as you know, I love talking about movies, and
Mhm.
I always love talking about movies. So it was only a matter of time that I did it online. And so I made a video that went viral within a day, where it was I basically pointed out that in Avengers Endgame, Tom Holland breaks character
Mm.
during a very pivotal scene. I'm gonna ruin this for you. You've seen Avengers Endgame, right? Of course you have.
I've seen all the Avengers movies. I dated a
What
guy that was an Avengers guy. I saw all 21, 20 movies?
Probably at the time it was about like 21, 22, I want to say.
Yeah,
About
I saw
around
all of
Avengers Endgame.
phase 3, 4. I don't apparently there's in phases. And anything
We're in
after
phase 5 now.
where at?
We're in phase 5 currently.
Okay, so phase 4. I literally watched all of phase 4.
Okay. So great. So you saw Avengers Endgame. There's the
Mhm.
scene where Tony Stark is dying. Like it's a very
Mhm.
pivotal, sad scene, right? Tom
Mhm.
Holland, I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Tom Holland is the first one to like cry over his like broken body, and he's got like, the Viola Davis snot going, like he's got the tears going. He's like,
Mhm.
"This is Stark, to the point where he has to physically be pulled away by Pepper, right? So
Mhm.
Pepper pulls him away, and he like leaves, and the whole time he's like broken. He's like,
It
he
was
goes
such a
from that.
sad scene.
It's a very sad scene, and Tom Holland's crushing it for all of 10 seconds, because when Gwyneth Paltrow kind of like crosses over to see Tony, you can look behind her, and there's Tom Holland, who thought he was off camera. So he goes from like snotting it up and crying his eyes out and breaking down and to
Oh, no.
it just completely blank face. You definitely get the sense
I'm
that he thought
rewatching
he was
that scene.
off camera. So now when you watch Tony Stark's death scene, you'll know that Tom Holland just broke character, just completely. You got to stay in character. You got to keep that energy up, even when the camera's not rolling on you. So yeah,
Mhm.
so I made that video that went viral. I said, well, I got many thoughts like this. And so I started doing 15-second reviews, breakdowns, pointing out details that most people can't see. Those went really crazy. And before I knew it, I think I had like 1 million followers within like a year and a half, maybe 2. I got to 3 million on year 4, I want to say. Excuse me. And now we're at 3.6 on TikTok. And I think we have 5 across a couple of platforms. So yeah, that became a thing. Then I started doing like interviews and red carpet interviews. And I had a podcast, lost a podcast, gained a new one. Pretty successful, I'd like to say. But yeah, that's it's the story of Straw Hat Goofy. Oh, by the way, the name Straw Hat Goofy actually came from my best friend that
Mhm.
I've known since high school. We met in
Yeah.
ninth grade, and we've been still close to this very day. And this was while I was doing my binge of One Piece, and he knows how obsessive I am about One Piece, and he knows how much I love a Goofy movie. So in jest, we were like talking about something, and he just goes, "All right, whatever, Straw Hat Goofy." And I was like, "Say that again." He said it again, and I was like, you know what? I immediately quietly changed my handles to Straw Hat Goofy, and there it stuck.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't supposed to be my professional name, but it became that. And I'm glad that it became that, because now I get to have a built-in excuse to talk about One Piece with people when they ask about my name. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was like a 10-minute origin story. So if anybody wants
I
to
freaking love
animate
that.
that, if anybody wants to make like a proof of concept series about that using my voice, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. So how did to kind of go back a couple of steps, obviously getting the podcast and all of that, what was that like, getting the call or starting that process of, hey,
Mm.
it's going to be a new podcast, especially as somebody who had a podcast before?
Yeah, so I had the first podcast. It was called Geeks of the Week with my really good friend Jay Stoops, aka Megan. She's the best. That podcast was pretty successful. We were doing really, really well,
Mhm.
and then we signed with a production team, and we signed the contracts and everything. And then we were having our lawyers speak to their lawyers about like contracts and money wise and stuff like that. And that literally took like a year, and we couldn't
Of
make
course.
new episodes, and we couldn't do much because everything wasn't dialed in yet. And within that year, that whole podcast division folded. So at that point, like me and Megan both like I don't want to say grew apart, but we basically wanted to do different things with
Yeah.
our platforms. Like I wanted to do more interview type things, and she wanted to do more like feminism type things. And so, we decided to like split up the podcast on that. And so I decided to, before I decided to do another podcast, it wasn't really on my brain until I started to get close with Ryan Coogler. And this was
Mhm.
maybe our second time kind of like linking up and talking. This was at a after party for a movie called Missing. Like we are just kind of like chopping it up, talking about like all these type of things. And then he was like, yeah, man, you're doing a really good job with everything that you're doing. Like, where do you see it going? Like, what's the end goal for you? And I
Mhm.
didn't have an answer for him. Like, I had no idea. As far as I knew, I was just making videos to make videos. Like, I didn't have no end goal. But then I was like, I
Mhm.
thought about it for like a while, and I said, wow, yeah, I should like have it become something, right? Like, there should be something that lasts, that's mine, right? So um that's when I said, like, you know what, maybe I can like go full tilt into like the podcast space, do more interviews, like create something that's mine versus like waiting for opportunity for people to give me, right? Because waiting for opportunities is always like the worst thing when you could just kind of like
Mhm.
take it into your own hands. So I attribute Ryan for like inspiring me to do that podcast. And sure enough, I came up with the concept of like, famous people, celebrities, actors, directors, what have you, give it like recommending their favorite movies. Because, when people talk about their favorite movies, you
Yeah.
realize a lot about who they are. You learn a lot about who they are. Right. And so that was kind of like the bedrock of the show.
Mhm.
And, when right before we started, like there was a press release that was put out in Hollywood Reporter, I believe it was a Variety or Hollywood Reporter, and I sent the link to Ryan, and I said like, hey man, like thought a lot about what you said. So now I'm starting this whole thing. And, I just want to say thank you for like letting me think about these things deeper. And if you're not too busy, I know you are, because you're Ryan Coogler, I would love to have you on. Just let me know. Like, there's always a spot open for you. If you can't, no worries. Dude hits me back within 5 seconds. I kid you not. Like there was already the
Uh,
dots happening as soon as I hit it.
yeah.
And he was like, oh, bro, here's my assistant, here's the my agent, here's this person at Proximity, like hit these people up, we're gonna make it happen, this is going to
Mhm.
happen. And then he basically was like, yeah, I got this new thing, I can't tell you what it is yet, but I'm working on it, like, once it comes around, I got you for that. That thing turned out to be Sinners. And
Ugh,
the rest
such a great
is,
movie.
oh my god, I can talk. I've literally talked ad nauseum about Sinners and can still do that. I've been actively trying not to, because then
Mhm.
I would become just a Sinners fan account, which is not a bad thing, like not at all. But like I've
Movie's
talked about
incredible.
it so dang much, and I just have other things that I want to get to. But yeah, no. So like after that, like we did a podcast for the year. We've had a lot of great guests out the gate. We had Daniel Kaluuya and Kane O.
Mhm.
Robinson. We've had like Halle Berry on the show, Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth, like, and we're getting them for like hour-long blocks, right? Like Danny
Mhm.
Ramirez and my gosh, like uh Danny Boyle, who directed 28 Days Later, then 28 Years Later, like so many crazy guests, and I'm just kind of like, holy shit, like this, it's getting big, and and this year has been even crazier. We just
Sure
interviewed
has.
Shanique Moore and RZA. It's insane. Like Ryan Coogler stopped by for his second stint on the show. We had
Mhm.
Wumi Musaku. We did Andy Serkis literally last week. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy show, and I'm blessed to actually have it, right? And so we've been picked up by iHeartRadio. We're their official entertainment correspondent now. Doing things with like Elvis Duran in the morning and doing things with Ryan Seacrest. And it's really, really cool that this all came from just a simple question that Ryan asked me. And that's like, where do I want to take my social media thing? And now I feel like, I finally have something that's completely mine.
Yeah, that's how is it for you wrapping your head around, like you were saying, Elvis Duran, Ryan Seacrest, like these names that you and I grew up with?
Mhm.
How are you wrapping your head around, like, I am not only like on that level and working with them, like this is my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny because like, you know, I grew up completely West Coast. So like a lot of
Mhm.
like the radio people that like I grew up with staples, like I would hear their voices every morning
Mhm.
was Ryan Seacrest and Big Boy on the radio.
Mhm.
Uh Elvis, I actually did not even hear about Elvis up until a couple months ago, like right before I started doing the show. Because
Oh,
as I understand it, he's like a very like East Coast guy. And like,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
I
this
didn't
is very East Coast, West Coast because like I'm in New
have
York, you're in LA. Like this is very
You know what I'm saying? But it's really cool because like Elvis is I consider a really good friend now. And like he's
Mhm.
so kind and so goddamn funny. Like he is such a funny person, so open. And again, you could already tell, like, but he makes great conversation. Like everybody over there,
Yes.
like Nate, Gandhi, like everybody over there are just like really good friends and really great. Shout out to the Elvis Duran team, man. Like everyone there is just like
Mhm.
awesome. But getting to know them and being like a part of their kind of like little ecosystem. I'm there like once a week, like talking about movies. But every time I do, it's like their family. And I actually went to the offices in the studio for the first time to do that, like right before the Oscars in early March, and it just felt like home. It felt great, and obviously they have to get me up at 6:30 in the morning because for them it's 9:30. So like
Yeah.
I'm sacrificing sleep for them. And as you know, like I stay up really late, like working. And so like,
Mhm.
it's a bit of a challenge, but I'll take that challenge for them any day of the week. But yeah, no, like wrapping my head around that, it's kind of insane. I don't know. Like I want to say it's easy to wrap my head around because for me, like it is part of the job. And for me,
Yeah.
like, as long as I'm talking about movies, I'm always going to be comfortable. Right.
Mhm.
Like, I've done it for so long and I've done it in so many different settings, like before and after this, that it just feels natural. Right. And so,
Right.
like, being able to like talk to Ryan, it takes me back to the reason why I got into movies in the first place. It's the only thing I truly know how to talk about. Right. Like, it's hard for me to connect with
Felt.
other people on other things,
Yep.
and so I have massive, 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 as extroverted as I may appear,
Mhm.
whenever I'm in a new setting or whenever I'm just in large groups, right? Like I'm always battling between talking about movies or like I don't want to say it's like a one trick pony, but like I don't want to just you're just gonna talk to you about movies, right? Like that's all he knows how to talk about versus
Mhm.
like trying to start a conversation about anything else. It's a big reason why my dating life is like kind of like in shambles because like I don't want to like just pull up and be like, so did you see The Devil Wears Prada last week? I did. I thought it was pretty great. Uh
I also saw it. Be proud of me. I actually went and
well,
saw a movie.
well be extra extra proud because I actually haven't seen it yet.
It's so
I
good.
I haven't had the time. I've actually watched the thing about my life is like I watch so many movies that even like the
Mhm.
most like mainstream ones I don't get around to until like a little bit after.
Right.
Like I recently watched Haley Kiyoko's Girls Like Girls, which is an amazing movie, and I'm excited. I'm
Mhm.
talking to her tomorrow actually on my podcast. Get Wreck with Try Goofy for those of you guys who are listening. So I'm talking
Don't worry. We'll
talking with
repeat it
her, and
like
then
8 times.
Okay, great. That's the only reason why I'm here. I'm joking. Tony Hill. So like, hopefully I get to see a cut of Toy Story 5 pretty soon. I watched Mortal Kombat 2. I went to that premiere. I watch a lot of things, right? I'm also like binging The Pit right now, which is, oh my God. We briefly talked about that in the DMs. Like, my God, it's
Yeah.
such a gut punch of a show. That would be a whole episode by itself. But yeah, no, like, yeah, it's like anytime I get to talk about movies in a professional capacity, I'm comfortable, right? So whether that's with Ryan Seacrest, whether that's with The Rock, like I always feel comfortable with those type of things. Now later, I do like sometimes sit back and be like, oh my God, like I just talked to Ryan Seacrest. I grew up like listening to this guy, right? Like, but I also have the awareness to know that like, Ryan's been doing it for a while. Hopefully I get to the point where I've been doing it for a while. And then there's some new like upstart like movie guy or radio host or whatever that I'm talking to, and they're like, oh my God, like I talked to Juju Green, Straw Hat Goofy. I grew up listening to his voice. Like I pray that I get to that. We're working on it. But yeah, no, it's just it's crazy. I was gonna say I did have a moment earlier this week or last week. It was early last week where I was like, I'm actually interacting with people like this on a regular basis. Okay, I'll say this. I have been chastised playfully by a very big A-list star in my DMs that everybody knows. And it's been throwing me for a loop because like on one hand, like we have talked, we have like gotten to know each other over the course of like the last like year or two. But it was to the point where I was like, I'll tell you this offline. I'll tell you offline who it is.
1,000%.
But I'm like, when I tell people who it is, they're like, what the fuck? Like, that's a flex. And I'm just like, yeah, no, like this. So basically this person like hit me up. They're a big Naruto fan. And I said that I didn't watch Naruto all the way through. Immediately DMs me and says, what the hell, dude? Like, this is a crime. This is a problem. We gonna talk about it. I'm
actually surprised you haven't. I feel like that's another like classic.
It is. And I'm gonna start it. I'm going to start it. It was just that during the time that it was out, I just wasn't interested in it. Like it just didn't like all the other animes that I watched, like Dragon Ball Z, obviously, like Zoids, even though like nobody cares about Zoids. Death Note and all these type of things. Like I was into those, but like for some reason Naruto just never like tickled my fancy. I mean Yu-Gi-Oh did and Digimon did, but Naruto didn't. But yeah, this person was like, oh yeah, dude, like we gonna talk about this. And I was just kind of like, oh, okay, like you took the time out of your busy ass day to like chastise me about this thing.
Right.
And then like if I say this other thing, it's gonna be a spoiler, but he basically like voice messaged me a Temptations reference as well. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and that's where I was like, hey? Like, so anyway, yeah, wrapping my head around this. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. There are days where I'm like, I belong here. Then there's other days where I'm like, how did I get here? Right. So yeah.
No, I completely like I don't understand it on your level, but like on my level, when you were saying like movies is really the one thing you're really comfortable talking about, mine is going in depth and hearing people's stories and really like, and I always joke that I have to quote unquote turn the podcaster off when I'm talking to new people because I just when you're in this industry, you learn to take like 4 words that they said in a sentence that just seem so inconsequential, and you're like, ooh, we're gonna make a
expound on that.
Yeah, literally. Like, walk me through. So I always joke that I have to turn the podcaster off. And like you were saying, it kills my dating life too. Cause I'm over here like, tell me more about your mother. Like,
it was like, oh, that's date number 3 type stuff. You're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
5 minutes into date 1.
I'm not a small talk girl and I never have been. So when it's friends or whatever, I always have to kind of like in the back of my head be like, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Yeah.
So I totally, on that level, I get it because I can't do small talk surface level. It drives me up a wall.
No,
so
I can't do it.
But I feel like I keep saying to kind of circle back to you were saying your followers are in the millions. And it was kind of a rapid, I would say like a year or two is a pretty rapid, maybe 3. That's a pretty rapid. Yeah,
It's keep it a buck,
it's a
way
little
too damn
quick.
fast. Yeah.
How how were you able, because everyone knows that when you're a household name and you're mainstream and you are well known, you lose your autonomy. You lose your ability
Mhm,
to be invisible.
mhm.
How do you wrap your head around that loss of autonomy and, like, cope with it? And, it's part of the job, but how are you coping with it when on some days you're like, "I just don't wanna be recognized today," but you are?
Yeah, yeah. First off, you're very kind, comparing me to, like, household names and stuff like that. I don't think I'm a
You are.
household name. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in people's households, right? So, like, it's hard for me to, like, quantify that. It's hard for me to quantify just the numbers,
Mhm.
starting with that. Like, it's like, I see 3.6 million and it's just like it's a number to me, right?
Right.
And then it's also like, those are TikTok numbers. And I always say, like, I feel like, Instagram followers are worth more than TikTok followers. I feel like
That and YouTube, I feel.
300,000, exactly. I feel like 300,000 Instagram followers is worth more than a million on TikTok, right? Because TikTok doesn't show all your followers your content, right? Like they can even in a
Right.
lot of cases hide your content from those people,
Mhm.
like those days where I'll post a video and like the algorithm's like being really whack and only maybe like 10K people see it out of 3.6 million. It's like, who are you showing
Mhm.
this to? Right. So for me, like I see those numbers and I just, I still have this mindset of I'm making content, I'm throwing it out there, and it's almost like you're putting a message in a bottle, praying to God that somebody sees it, right? So
Literally.
that's literally how I see all my content. I just have these thoughts, I put it in the bottle, and then I just, all right, hopefully people see it, right?
Mhm.
And I am always grateful when I do see people in person who say like, "Oh yeah, I love your content. Like you're all over my For You page, and like I love when you talk about this." And I'm like, "That's really great, thank you." Because again, I'm just throwing it out there and hoping that somebody sees it, and now I'm meeting
Yep.
someone who got the message, right? So yeah, so
Mhm.
like the household name thing, like celebrity household name, like it always like makes me go like, "Ugh, I don't think I'm there." But I think what I like to say is I don't have fame, I have notoriety, right?
Mm.
Like I have enough notoriety to where enough people know who I am to where if I meet like a group of 4 to 5 friends, 2 of them might know. I can bet like maybe 1 of them might know, 2 at the
Mhm.
max, and then they can be like, "Oh, he does this thing," and then hopefully that helps them like jump on board or like whatever. So,
Mhm.
but in terms of like the rise, that was I say this very honestly, it happened way too damn quick. I think like
Yeah.
anyone's rise to notoriety in that sense, it's a dangerous thing. It can be a dangerous thing because
Mhm.
especially on social media because you don't really have a lot of training on how to deal with that.
Mm-mm.
And there's
There's
many
no
factors.
training.
There's no training on that, right? Like unless you're super fortunate to like buy a team with the money that you've made in that time, which during that
Mhm.
time you probably haven't made a lot of money. But if you're
Mm-mm.
fortunate enough, maybe you have people who can media train you really quick, like say like, oh, don't say this, do this, da da da. But
Mhm.
if, a lot of times people like me are by themselves when they rise that quick. So there's no media training on how to navigate online on what to say, what not to say, right? Like everybody has an opinion on you and what you say, and like people can take what you say so many different interpretations, and everybody has a think piece, and like there's dealing with that just alone of like, do I respond to every video that's being made by me? Do I respond to every comment? Do I read every DM? It gets really dicey, right? And it
Yeah.
really affects your mental health. Um, but the reason why I say this is because for me, like I am a very simple guy, right? I'm a very like to himself type person. I love people. I love interacting with people. I love being in those type of settings. But for the most part, at my core, I'm a very like private person, right? I'm at home all the time. I take care of my daughter. She's my number one priority. I make my videos, and I just next thing I'm wondering is like what I'm about to eat. Like I'm thinking
Yep.
about this right now during this podcast. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I'm like, oh, what's in the kitchen, right? So like
Right.
I'm a very like to himself like type of individual. So it pisses me off when people try to tell me what I meant by things that I say or what that I do or try to like come up with theories for what I'm saying and what I'm doing. When in reality, like I'm a very on your sleeve type of person. Like I'm not doing much, right? So uh that took a lot of adjusting when it came to this whole thing. Um okay, the biggest example of this, and this taught me like a very like valuable lesson, is
Mhm.
that this happened during the strike. And the strike
Ooh.
happened I want to say 2023, right?
Yes. Yep.
So I've only been doing content creation for 3 years at this point, right? I was
Oh.
only doing it for 3 years. And
Mhm.
the actors and writers strike, the last one that happened, I believe it was like I don't know the exact date, but it was in the mid 2000s. I want to say it was '06, maybe. And so, '06, I was like a freshman in high school. I was graduating middle school at that time. So like
Yeah.
so the social media influencer wasn't a thing back then. And so there wasn't really a lot of rules to like, oh, there's a strike that's happening and movie influencers are now a thing. And like how do you how do you be a part of it while also like, making sure like that you eat and make money from this job that you made. And
Mhm.
so I remember like making multiple videos. One video I was like, don't ask me about writer and actor strike stuff. I don't know the ins and outs. Like, and I don't think I'll be able to articulate those type of things. Made that video. And then the next video, somebody asked me like, oh, like with the strike happening, like, what does your content look like? And I was just genuinely being like, oh, well, as I understand it, like, if they're on strike, no movies should be being made right now. So I'm not going to talk about any of those new movies. I'll talk about the old movies that are already made and that the strike is not affected by, it's my understanding. And then also like I still have like brand deals that like I gotta complete. Like, right, I still got this job to do, like, so
Yeah.
I'll still do these brand deals. And, at the time, I should have been like, well, I didn't know this at the time, but like I was
Mhm.
talking about like my previous contracts that I already had like going. And so I remember making that video. I took a nap. I woke up and the entire world was burning because they're like hundreds of people have made videos. Oh, Straw Hat Goofy is a scab, and like he's taking the jobs from actors and writers by choosing to promote movies and da 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 da. And I was thinking to myself, I'm sorry. First off, I had to look up the word scab, and I was like, oh, it's someone who takes the job of someone who can't do the job because they're on strike. And I was like, well, I'm not an actor. I'm not a writer. I'm not taking those jobs. Like, what does that mean? Well, you're
Yeah.
promoting the movie, and it's their job to promote the movie. I'm a critic. Like, I don't consider what I do as like promotion. It's just me talking about something that already exists, which I already like, so it was just a huge thing. And also, little nugget, this happened on the first day of the strike, the very first day. I was
Damn.
like, there's not enough. If I was scabbing, there was not enough time for me to scab, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, and then, talk to a lot of people in the guilds, like talk to the Actors Guild, talk to a lot of people in the Writers Guild, and every single one of them, including like the team leaders and the like, just large people in there would just say like, dude, we saw that. You're not wrong. Like you're not wrong. That's just the internet being the internet. Like you're not an actor, you're not a writer. Like what you do does not affect us in that way. Like we know
Right.
that you rock with us. We know that you have solidarity with us. Like don't even worry about it. And it's hard to say that. I mean, it's hard to like that felt nice to hear, but at the same time, like my presence that I've built up over these 3 years is now in jeopardy because the internet wants to, you know, with their hearts in the right place, basically have someone to blame or some like, show that they're in support by dogpiling on one person. Right. And so, and the thing that like hurt the most about that was that dogpiling happened to me while all throughout the strike, a lot of people were like doing exactly what I said I wasn't going to do, which is like promoting movies and talking about movies and this and this and that. But none of them got any of the blowback, like nobody. And so that just showed me that like whether I'm getting high praise or a lot of criticism, both of those things could flip on their head and could turn into something else. So I take each thing with a grain of salt. And I know that like in those type of situations in the future that like nobody really wants to hear my opinion. Like obviously I could tell the truth and like, those type of things.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, like I know exactly like what I'm doing like behind the scenes, I know like what my intentions are. And a lot of those times, if those intentions are pure, they tend to win out. So, every now and then I do get people that will still come in. And this always happens when I'm at like my most successful, when I do something really cool. Like,
Mhm.
every time I do a Ryan Coogler thing, or every time I do something with like go to a set visit or something like that, and the video's viral, there's always a few people that's like, let me remind you that you scabbed during the strike. Didn't you? Aren't you the guy that scabbed during the strike? And I would say very simply, if I did, the internet is forever. Show me an example where I did that. Like, just show me
Yep.
an example, right? If it's out there, pull it up. I'll reshare the video and I'll leave the internet forever. You have my word. And they're never able to find anything because it did not happen, right? So it just teaches me the hard lesson of what you think about me is none of my business.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, Tom Holland had this quote: "If you have a problem with me, text me. If you don't have my number, you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me."
Mhm.
So I take that fully to heart, and that was just like the hardest lesson that I had to learn, and that's even like dealing with people in the space as well, right? Like people who will like just turn their back on you or misconstrue like what you say. It is like it just comes with the platform. A million followers comes with a million different opinions about
Mhm.
you. So dealing with that, it just it is what it is. I accept it fully now, and I feel like since that whole thing, I've been much better for it. Like I know how to operate in that type of capacity.
Yeah. I mean, one of the questions I was going to ask is, have you felt like you made it? But the answer is usually always no to people, and also
Mm.
you did, because the
Yeah,
internet tried to cancel you and still tries to like sprinkle in a cancellation here and there. So I
they,
feel
they
like you've
try.
made it.
They try. I mean, you know, I, I think that is a metric for making it. It's just so it's funny
Yeah.
because I see people try to prematurely cancel people now. Like, like I
Literally.
see people who are on the rise, and then like there are people just trying to find things about them or find dirt. And there's this
Mhm.
as a friend of mine, his name is Jamal Burkmar, and I feel like a lot of time he's like very, very, very misunderstood in what he's trying to say. Sometimes I do feel like he does say some things that like ruffle a lot of feathers, him being British and then speaking on American issues. Shout
Oh
out to
boy.
Jamal. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like,
Yeah.
um and like, as a friend and as like a human, I get it. Like you want to have a global human conversation and you want to see like everyone's
Mhm.
experience is global, but you know, not everybody's experience is the same, especially when we talk about like geopolitical like type of relationships with each other. But he talks about like the bloodlust that people have whenever someone's getting like canceled or dunked on, and then everybody in this world of content wants to do the same thing, and that's like,
Yeah.
oh, your face now becomes that. Like there's this one guy, and I won't say his name because I really don't want to give him like a lot of like energy. But there's this one guy who literally just hates my guts because I don't know reasons. And
Oh,
so
that one.
you probably, I mean, there's quite a few people that can be like that. You're probably thinking of like King Lion. I will say that name, no problem.
I don't know. It's
But not
whoever
King.
you posted on your Instagram stories like 2 weeks ago that just went
Oh,
in on
that was a
you.
rando. That was a
Oh,
rando. That was just
that wasn't
upset.
even
And
fully.
and I yeah, that was just a random person who like again, he started talking shit about me in his stories, and all I did was like the story. And he got pissed off that I liked the story, so he made 3 more stories cussing me out. And so I said, "Eh." And so I started liking all the other stories, which caused him to get even more pissed off and crash out. So that was
I
like
love it.
that was just a fun afternoon for me because that was like the least amount of effort that I ever put into pissing somebody off, and it was just fun for
Mhm.
me. But there was this one guy, and like I remember I made a video, and it was just like a fun little video where like it was during the Gladiator 2 thing, and I always laughed because Paul Mescal and and Pedro Pascal were both in a movie together, and since they both have the same like
Very
last syllable
similar.
in their name,
Yeah.
I was like over pronouncing Mescal's last name, like Paul Mescal and Pedro Pascal. They're both in a movie together. We'll call them the Scal brothers. And it's
I love that.
like at the like I'm a big fan of Step Brothers. So like the whole like I'm gonna put my nut sack on your drum set. Like sack and set don't rhyme, but it's
Right.
the delivery which makes it funny. And
Mhm.
so I was like, Paul Mescal and Pedro Pascal. This guy made a whole video being like, I figured somebody like you would understand that his name is Mescal, not Mescal. And da, 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 da. He made time out of his day to make this whole video. And I was like, what is your issue, dude? It's just a joke. Like just chill out, right? And so I can always tell people just have like a deep-seated issue with me, but like they
Mhm.
don't have a reason to let it out. So they just kind of like throw little shots. And so this goes back to Jamal. Like when me and Jamal first started interacting on the internet, like we were both like talking about like Daniel Kaluuya and where he was at. And a lot of people thought we were beefing. Well, we were just literally just like trying to figure out where's Daniel Kaluuya. And like we became mutuals, we became really good friends off of that. And but this guy, same guy, was like, oh, this straw hat goofy guy, and like he tried to come after Jamal, and like he doesn't know what he's talking about. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, what did I do? Like I'm talking to a guy that I'm actually cool with, and you're trying to use that as like oh, like this guy sucks. And so like again, I wasn't trying to give this guy energy, so I didn't make a video, but I was in his comment section and I was just kind of like, bro, like you just don't like me and you don't even know why. And like I know why, but like that's none of my business. And so he genuinely asked me, he was like, oh, why don't I like you? And so I literally crafted this like whole like 3 comments worth of like, you think you want to be the guy, you're quite simply jealous, you think you could do your job, my job better than I can, but you don't have the platform to do it, and that makes you sick. And you, although you may come at some of your conversations from a very interesting point of view, you wanting to be the guy gets in the way of your content. So that's what I think you are, right? Tell
I
me
know who
why
you're
this
talking
man.
about now because I
Okay.
saw the whole novel because all of a sudden you said, and I was like, I saw that. That was a few months ago, right?
It was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Tell me why
Okay.
this guy, tell me why this guy deleted those comments, the
Mm.
explanation as to like why I don't like him. He screenshotted my comment and said, this is a comment of Straw Hat Goofy calling me racist. And I went, nobody, nobody even brought up racism or racistness at all. Like that's a
No.
weird thing to do. Weaponizing a black person calling out racist to like, especially like after like deleting the comments. So now I'm thinking like, okay, how can I, because I know he deleted the comments. And at this point, it's like my word against his because,
Mhm.
there is like that section of the internet that's like, oh, Straw Hat Goofy, like fucking up again. So I discovered that if you look in the data of TikTok, you can actually pull comments that you've made. And like you could like even the deleted ones. It would take a day, but you can actually like pull those comments. So
Mm.
I got the data. I let him make his little videos talking shit about me for like a day. And then I got his ass. I was like, remember those comments that you said I didn't make that you deleted, that you tried to say out? Here they are. And you're the type of person who will try to twist arguments and do all these type of things, which goes against your whole like, oh, I'm a liberal, like, I'm actually doing the Lord's work and blah, blah, blah. He's just an awful person. Just an awful person. And again, don't want to say his name, don't want to give him any energy in that way, but it's just that he made this video basically like listing the reasons why he didn't like me. One of them was the strike, which again didn't do anything during the strike. So I said, hey,
Yeah.
show it off, show it. That's fine. He also said like, oh, there was this one time where a guy was trying to tell you not to worry about the haters, and you went into a villain monologue in your car, and then he showed the guy, and I was like, I remember this guy. This was during the time where somebody was being racist to me, and I made a video talking about how I felt about that happening. And then this person tried to say, hey, don't worry about it. Just make your content. And I'm like, I made that video being like, listen, the racism happened to me. You don't have any right to tell me how to feel or how to react to racism happening to me because it gives me shut up and dribble, and we don't want to hear about who you are. Just make the content. And I literally did not show the guy's face. I literally did not call him out. I literally like replayed the video, but it was a blacked out video because I didn't want people coming after him. And I said, don't come after this guy because he has good intentions. But I am going to tell you, don't do that. Like, do not do that. I was like, for you to call that a villain monologue, absolutely insane. Me setting boundaries and calling it a villain monologue is absolutely insane. And so I was like, people like this, and you could tell he's clearly doing this, using my face, using my things as a way to kind of like latch on to some form of clout, which goes back to what I was saying. You want to be the guy, right? And so you're trying to play a game that I'm not trying to play. So like, it's people like that that like, again, you can't give them any type of energy, right? Like you just can't. And during that time, I remember there was like a creator that was trying to jump on the bandwagon, and he literally said the words, "I hope he responds to this video because I could use some like, some exposure too." And I was like, this is the world that we're living in, you know? So, so I've since worked really hard to ascend past this like whole social media like rat race, because it is a rat race for the most part. It's highly competitive for no reason, to the point where like we can't even have a community where people just enjoy talking about movies without somebody quantifying the amount of movies that they watch is like a superiority type thing. So like that's why like I have my podcast, that's why I do like the hosting, that's why I do Elvis Duran and all these other things, because I don't want to say like it completely separates me from that, because my roots are in TikTok. I still love TikTok. I still love making videos for that platform, but I'm glad to not be as in it, right? And now like it kind of, I know this may sound like it makes me feel like I'm superior over like TikTok or nothing like that, but I come with the context now of somebody's talking shit about me on the internet. I don't have the time, the energy, or the quite frankly, the fucks to give when it comes to somebody making their little video about their think pieces about me. Like I don't like, and I don't have to respond to that. I don't have to deem them with an explanation, because quite frankly, I got bigger and better things to talk about and put my energy to than that. So I know that was like a long-winded thingy thing.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Speaking of bigger, better, what was your first big interview? Just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit.
You know what? I really can't remember what was the first big one. And I feel it feels really weird that like I've been trying to think about it. I was like, what was the first junket interview that I did? What was the first big one? But I think the first red carpet that I did, and it was, it wasn't like an interview, but it was like a full red carpet. It was the Spider-Man No Way Home premiere.
Ooh.
And it was crazy because like this happened during a time where I was just being excited to be invited to premieres, but to be asked to host a premiere, that's when I was like, whoa, like hosting. And so, being there, first off, Spider-Man Brand New Day, No Way Home was just like one of the biggest events like in movies, like especially during that time. Like the lead up to it was crazy, the theories was crazy, like, all of it. And so being able to talk to like Zendaya and Tom Holland and Marissa Tomei and like pretty much everybody, Jamie Foxx, right? Like Willem Dafoe, like at one of the biggest premieres hands down of that year was great. And I've always been a great like public speaker. That's always been like just a gift that I've had. And so to kind of like use it on that scale, like I think that was the first time where I said to myself, like, I want to do this like forever. Like I want to do more stuff like this forever. And since then I have like hosted like many a premiere. Like I hosted the One Bad After Another premiere in London, which was great. I've done Oscars, I've done Five Nights at Freddy's. I've done a lot, and it's been great. I've done live streams, I've done D23 expos, and I always feel very comfortable doing it. I just hosted the fundraiser at City Year that I do, which is a charity that I've been doing for a couple years now. And I feel at home, like on stages with microphones and talking to talent and stuff like that. But in terms of like big one-on-one interviews, man. I know Dan Kaluuya is my first big one on the podcast, but I'm really trying to think.
Okay, let's switch gears of like what was your first big like are you fucking kidding me? They're coming on.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, it's been so many, like to the
I
point where
know. It's been
like
insane.
it's been absolutely insane. Like to the point where like mm, it's hard to pick just one. Like Ryan Coogler
Yeah.
obviously like keeps popping up. Like he's a friend
Mhm.
now, so it's like, oh yeah, that's the homie that's coming on. I know in the moment
Right.
I was like, oh shit, like yeah, Ryan's gonna be on. That's gonna be
Mhm.
great. Daniel Kaluuya was also like a really big one because he was the first episode, and that was like very scary because that man has very like an intimidating presence. And
Mhm.
I think like in the moment it was very intimidating because he was staring me down because like he's seen me before, but he couldn't figure it out where. But he didn't tell
Oh
me
god.
that, so I just thought he was just staring me down. I had also just watched Widows the night before, and is there a scene where he's like
Mhm.
staring at the dude that's like rapping right before he kills him? So I was like, is this what's gonna happen to me right now? So I really thought that was like a moment that was gonna happen. Um, my God, I'm really trying to like run through. Hold on. I hope you don't mind me doing this. I really gotta like go on my
No, I love this.
Spotify. I'm gonna run down like the list of all the guests on my thing. Oh my God. Jesus. I literally first one, I like Phil Lord and Chris Miller. And I was like, they were on. Maggie Gyllenhaal also was like a
Oh,
surprise.
yeah.
Maggie Gyllenhaal was a huge surprise because she's Maggie Gyllenhaal. And
Yeah, literally.
for her to get on a show that has Straw Hat Goofy in the title felt very like, how did y'all convince her to do that? Let's see. Rehab Ryan Johnson, Joe Edgerton was on as well. Jesus Christ. Emma Stone. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Oh,
Emma Stone and Yorgos
that's a
Lanthimos
big one.
was a big one. Big one. It was that one was almost like you're lying. Right?
Right.
Like because shout out to Paul. Shout out to Paul. He's my publicist. And he's like a big reason for why I have what I have and like, the bookings and stuff like that. Paul can be an embellisher. That's a nice way to put it.
Mm.
He gets really excited. And when he gets excited, he'll say things that are not all the way true. Very short story. One time he told me that I was going to do for Top Gun, I was going to do this thing in San Diego where I could literally fly a plane. Like I can go up and like literally fly a plane, which in and of itself is like super, super dope. I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, great. Sign me up. Can't wait. But then he does what Paul does and he says, oh, and Tom Cruise specifically is going to be in your plane. He specifically asked for you to be in his plane so you guys can fly together. And I was like, at the time, I was like, wow, that's incredible. Why would Tom Cruise like pick me of all these people? He's like, oh, he's a big fan of your content. Like, and he wants to do it with you. And I was like, really, really cool. I go there, they're giving the safety spiel, and I raise my hand like an idiot. And I say, where is Tom Cruise? Is he going to be here soon? And they looked at me like I was fucking crazy. And I was like,
Um,
oh God, I fucked up. And they say, why would you think Tom Cruise is going to be here, dude? And everyone laughed at me. And it was just one of those nightmare scenarios where I look like a dummy. And so I was like, okay, that was, shouldn't have believed Paul on that one. Okay. Fast forward a year later. He says, guess what? You're going to Italy and you're going to skydive for Mission Impossible. I was like, that's great. Awesome. I'll be there. He says, but guess what else? Tom Cruise specifically asked to jump out of the plane with you. I said, bro, the fact that we are going to die one day and we'll be in heaven, hopefully, and you will have told 2 Tom Cruise related embellishments that have to do with planes is impressive. I would have 2 nickels, but it's weird that it happened twice type of thing, right? So
yeah.
it's literally that. It's literally that. And he was like, oh, nope, you can believe me if you want. You can believe me if you want. And I was like, sure, okay. Didn't believe him, but I did go all the way to Italy as they were giving the safety spiel. And I was like, I know the answer, but please tell me, is Tom Cruise going to be here? They were like, no, Tom Cruise is not going to be here. And I was like, just wanted to know.
I just
I
want to
actually
know
got to
what
go.
Paul's obsession with Tom Cruise is.
Well, it's not just like an obsession with Tom Cruise. It's again, like, he'll tell me something, like he'll tell the truth, and it's a
Mhm.
great truth, but then he'll add a little bit of a little bit of embellishment to it, like a little sparkle to it. And it's like, you don't have to say that. Like, it's already good on its own. Like, it's already good on
Right.
its own. And he does that like a lot. So I've done this thing where I call it Paul math. It's where Paul tells you something and you subtract, or you subtract like maybe 80% of it, right?
Mhm.
That's the truth. So, and I recently applied it and it worked like a dream. He was like, "Hey, like you're going to go to London and you're going to film a cameo for this really big movie. So you're going to go on set and you're going to film a cameo." I said, "Okay, let's do Paul math. I am flying to London." He wouldn't say that, but if I take 80% of what he said, a cameo, let's reduce that to not a role at all. And let's reduce that to a simple set visit where I create content about what's happening on set. It's not a cameo, but it's still pretty cool. Okay, so I get there. Sure enough, what is it? It's a set visit. I'm capturing
Mhm.
content. I'm meeting the director and actor, all these things. I'm like, that's Paul math. You just got to subtract a healthy dose of what he says.
I
So,
mean, yeah.
so when he says Maggie Gyllenhaal is going to be on your podcast, this is before I had the Paul math going. I was like, is she though? Like, she said yes to a podcast called Get Wrecked with Straw Hat Goofy. It's like, yeah, no, she's really
Mhm.
excited to be on. And I was like, all right, we'll see on the day. I'll believe it when she's in front of me. Sure enough, the day comes, it's fucking Maggie Gyllenhaal. And I'm like, well, holy shit. And the first question that I asked her was it weird saying yes to a podcast with Straw Hat Goofy in the title? And she went, yeah, it was. I was like, what is that? And so I explained it to her and she was like, oh, okay, that's really cool. But she was like, they showed me some of your stuff and like, they told me you did like these interviews with these amazing people, Ryan Coogler and all these things. And I just said I had to talk to you. And I was like,
Oh.
I fucks with that. I fucks with that. So yeah,
Mhm.
Maggie Gyllenhaal was one that I didn't believe until like she was like physically in front of me. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Shout out
That's
to
awesome.
Paul for being really good at his job.
Listen, Paul is phenomenal at his fucking job.
Yeah.
Paul is, and everyone
Sounds
loves
it.
Paul. But we all understand that Paul could be like a little much, a little much when it comes to like the tiny little. And I listen, and that's part of his job. Like his job is to get you excited about things. It's to
Mhm.
keep you on time, and he will do that by any means necessary. He'll get you there on time, but you'll also be like, I could have got here like an hour later, like, I'm 2 hours
Mhm.
ahead of schedule instead of like 1 hour, So shout out to Paul. Paul's the best. I love you, buddy. He's a good friend, even better publicist. He's awesome. Well, great publicist, even better friend. So
Yeah.
yeah. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I've had a lot of people that I was like, why are you here? How are we talking right now?
I know I've definitely been in your DMs about that. Like, how do you get through like a big guest? And you're like, just ask the questions like you would ask anybody else. I'm like, oh yeah, duh. They're also still people. But it's like it's
Yeah,
that little bit of starstruck of like, you want to talk to me.
that, you know, maybe here's the thing, and this might be the truth.
Mhm.
When you have a conversation with someone like Tom Cruise, you can have a conversation with anyone. Like when you've
That
had
is
to
fair.
sit down with Tom Cruise, you could rest easy knowing that like I've talked to probably the last true movie star, action star in the world.
Mhm.
You could probably get through a conversation with like anybody because that man,
Yeah.
that is aura. I will tell you
Mhm.
that is aura. I gotta hit him up and get him on the podcast as like a straight one-on-one, like a straight like one-to-one because
Mhm.
Tom is he's the Tom is a lot. He is everything. So
I'm sure. I'm from what I've seen from way back in the day, I'm sure it has not even keeled itself out. I'm sure he is still a very big personality, just very,
you
very big on a lot of things.
you have never seen anybody as obsessed with movies as Tom Cruise. Like I'm
Damn.
putting on my serious voice. You have never seen anyone as obsessed with movies as Tom Cruise. I think like I love watching basketball clips. where basketball players talk about one specific player and how like in the zone they are. And like Kobe Bryant's like one of my favorite ones because Kobe Bryant was a maniacal motherfucker. Like when it came to like psychological games and getting into the gym at like 3 a.m. and stuff like that. And hearing those stories are always great. Like Tom Cruise is the Kobe Bryant of movies. Basically, he's the Kobe Bryant of movies. He's obsessive. He's attention to detail oriented. I saw him on the set of Mission Impossible in the water, full swimsuit and everything, swimming in a giant like submarine type thing. He comes out of the water, knows every person's name in every single department. Hey, can we get Clara and Costume in to like check out this wetsuit? And hey, who do we have on VFX? Is it Tim? Tim? Okay, Tim, can we like I'm like this he knows everything. And he knows everything that's going on at any given time. Where you just like
I
after
would
the
hope
and just
so.
say the lines, you know?
No, I would hope so, considering he has been on such iconic movies that we all grew up with.
Yeah. I'm
So,
shocked that
yeah.
that man I'm pretty sure he could play an instrument. I'm sure he can. But I'm shocked that I haven't seen Tom Cruise as a composer. You know, like
I'm
that's the
sure he
only
figured
thing
it
that
out.
I'm sure he's figured it out. I'm sure he's got it. He's just keeping it a secret. But because the dude could sing too. He can also sing. So it's like, yeah, I'm just waiting for that credit to come around.
Right. So besides Sinners, have you been able to interview anyone from like latest favorite movies, past favorite movies?
Yeah. Well, it goes down the spectrum of like actors and directors, right? So like we had Phil Lord and Chris Miller like on the podcast, and then also at the City Year Spring Break charity gala that we had just very recently. This was last Saturday, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that. I interviewed them again. So like we're all really starting to like really create a great relationship between us. They're producers and writers on the Spider-Verse movies, and Across the Spider-Verse, I think is like a masterpiece of a film. They also recently just did Project Hail Mary, which like, you know, getting to talk to them about that, holy shit, like my God, right? So those were two of them. But I think like when we talk about my favorite things, right? Like Her is a movie that is my hands down favorite movie of all time. I love Her. It's literally, I consider it a perfect movie. And even though he had a small, I made it a point that whenever I'm in the same place as someone who had a part to play in that movie, I will talk to them about that movie. And so Chris Pratt is in that movie. And it's a very small role, but it's a memorable one because it's in like, I want to say it's at the beginning of the movie or like in the first act at the very least. And Joaquin Phoenix is like walking by him, and like he's just sitting at his, like, he's a receptionist, so he's just kind of like sitting at the reception desk eating like some yogurt, looking at his computer. And then like it's such a small interaction, but I don't know why it just stuck with me, where Joaquin Phoenix said, "Hey man, I like that shirt." And then Chris Pratt just goes, "Thank you. It reminded me of someone smooth." And then Joaquin Phoenix says, "Well, now it reminds me of someone smooth." And he goes, "Aw, take care." and so I'm like, it's such a small part, and he's in it like a little bit, like he's in it like a little bit more. But we were talking about I was interviewing him for his new movie Mercy, and I was like, I have to tell you, dude, like you're literally in my favorite movie of all time. And he was like, really? I don't know why he did that, because like the movies that he makes, I don't know if he's like aware, like none of the movies that I make will be anyone's favorite movie of all time. But he really was like, really? What movie? Like, is it Zero Dark 30? Like, which Chris Pratt was also in, but nowhere near my favorite movie of all time, though. I don't think it's anyone's favorite movie of all time. But I was like, Her. And you could tell for a half second he forgot that he was in that movie. He was like, Her? And then he goes, "Oh yeah." He was like, I was. It was a great movie. He was like, yeah. He was like, and he literally just said, like, I had no idea what I was doing in that movie. He was like, that was such a hard character to crack. I had no idea what I was doing, but Spike is just such a great director that I just have full trust in him. But he was like, I just didn't know what was happening with that. And so it was cool to get like a little bit of insight on this little moment in my favorite film. Now that I watch it now, I'm like, Chris Pratt is just flying by the seat of his pants here, and he's still crushing it. That's actually pretty cool. as far as like, because like my favorite movies of all time, like I consider them perfect, are Shawshank Redemption, E.T., Her, and Your Name. So like have the interaction with Makoto Shinkai, that Q&A, not one-on-one though. Haven't talked to anyone from E.T. yet.
Mhm.
I hope to. I believe I'm going to be talking to Steven Spielberg very, very soon.
That's
Because he
incredible.
has Disclosure Day coming out, and I'm doing something
Mm.
really cool with them. But oh my God, Spider-Man 2, these weren't interviews. These were interactions.
Right.
But they weren't interviews. And so I've been very fortunate enough to, oh wow, no wait, I did interview Kirsten Dunst. And I didn't
Mm.
talk about Spider-Man 2. That was impressive of me. Wow.
Wow.
That's crazy. That but you know what? You know what? Because it was her and Channing Tatum as well. And we talked
Mm.
about like Jumanji and Bring It On and like all those type of things. So that was still fun. But
Yeah.
actually, I did talk about Spider-Man 2, but this was at the Oscars with Kirsten Dunst. So whole different thing. But so I was blessed to talk to Kirsten Dunst. I had a full conversation with Sam Raimi at the after party for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Mhm.
We got to talk about that. And then I got to talk to Alfred Molina also at the Oscars with his wife. Um, and then I got to talk to Tobey Maguire,
Ooh.
which was that one was interesting because this was at the after party for Babylon. And we all know that Toby doesn't necessarily like talking to press, like he doesn't do a lot of interviews and things like
Right.
that. And you know, you never want to bother Tobey Maguire, like I totally get it. But
Mhm.
I made this vow to myself to like, you know, talk about Spider-Man 2 with everyone who's been in it. And so somebody said like, hey, isn't that Tobey Maguire over there? And I literally went, where? And I bolted off to go talk to him. And he had like two
Oh
friends
my
with him.
gosh.
And I just essentially, I was like, hey man, like, I know you can tell me to fuck off. You can tell me to fuck off right now if you want in so many words. I just have to let you know that Spider-Man 2 is the reason why I'm at where I'm at. Like that movie literally changed my brain chemistry, and a lot of it had to do with your performance as an everyman. And like
Mhm.
you just have no idea the effect that it had on me. And like I've talked to Sam, and I've like, you know, talked to other people who worked on it, and like I have to talk to the man himself. And he was really appreciative. He was very like appreciative of it, and like he was very happy about it, and he was kind of shocked that like Spider-Man 2 means that much to someone out there. And
Yeah.
so I was just kind of like, hey, again, tell me to fuck off, but if we could take a picture, I have to ask, right? You can say no. And
Mhm.
he says, you know what? I'm not gonna say no. Let's get it. And so I got the picture with Tobey Maguire, and now I officially have a picture with all four of the main Spider people: Shamik, Toby, Tom, Andrew, and my life is kind of complete. So yeah.
So to go back to the very
Hmm.
first question I asked you, who was Juju? What what are some of the things you enjoy doing when you are kind of like in your cone of silence of not
Mm.
being this incredible interviewer and social media star and this, that, and the third?
You know what? I like going down rabbit holes. Like
Ooh.
I love going down. I don't know what it is. There's just something so
Mhm.
it's almost like a puzzle, right? Like it's almost like finding a piece of something and then figuring out like how big is the puzzle, like what other pieces go with it, like, you know. So I love going down just like these random rabbit holes of things that I just hyper like most I consider like a hyperfixation, right? And so
Mhm.
I got really obsessed recently. My most recent rabbit hole is Game of Thrones in that universe. So I'm trying
Ooh.
to like go as deep as I can without reading the books, because like sitting down to read is like very hard for me. And then like you know, I feel like audiobooks is like hard for me to do too, because like I feel like if I'm listening to an audiobook, I could be listening to music. It just my brain works in a weird way.
Mhm.
But I will sit there and I'm like reading about like Balerion the Black Dread and like Aegon's conquest and like the story of like Dunk and Egg and like how he like died and stuff like that. And like, oh, what are
Yeah.
the events that happened leading up into Game of Thrones? Like I'm very fascinated with that right now. Like
Mhm.
which dragons are the biggest ones. I learned that there's this one dragon called the Cannibal in the House of the Dragon universe, and I don't think they've adapted it
Mhm.
into the first two seasons. They should have, god damn it, because this dragon is really fucking cool. Sorry, another rabbit hole I'm going down. But you had like the three main dragons. You have Balerion, which was the biggest motherfucker to ever exist of a dragon. Like imagine a dragon that can swallow a mammoth whole. That's how big this dragon was, right? And a little man riding on top of it. How do you tame something like that? Anyway, so you've had Vagar, you've had Balerion the Black Dread, and I'm blanking on the third one name. I can't remember the third one's name. But that one ended up dying anyway. That one ended up dying when they tried to take over Dorne. Shout out to Dorne, by the way. The only ones to resist dragon conquest. Holy shit. Anyway, sorry. My mind's going all over the place. But
I love it.
But the cannibal was one of the few dragons that was like not tamed by any Targaryen. This was a very volatile dragon. And so the Targaryens would say you can try to tame that dragon. However, no one has ever went into its cave and came out because it would kill them or eat them or like whatever. And it was called the cannibal because he would eat other dragons. Like that dragon didn't give a fuck about anything. And it was like pure black. It had green eyes. And I think it had like green fire or some shit. I might be wrong about that.
Such a beaut.
But that was also one of the only surviving dragons of the Dance of Dragons, of like the war between like the House of the Dragons. And when I think who was it? When one of the Targaryens died, I think it was like when the last Targaryen died, that dragon just flew off and it was never seen again. And it was rumored to also be older than Balerion the Black Dread, which is crazy. So yeah, so I got like down this rabbit hole of like learning about the cannibal, like who tried to like tame it, all these type of things. It's really cool stuff. It's really fucking cool stuff. So anyway, I like going down rabbit holes. I just like, you know, being in my own like you said, cone of silence where I get to like, you know, chill out, listen to some music while going down a rabbit hole. I also think about romance a lot. I'm a big romantic, like hopeless romantic, I should say. And so I literally will just like come up with scenarios on how I can meet my future wife and shit. It's kind of embarrassing how much time I put into this. But it's my life. It's what I do. And hopefully one of these scenarios that I've concocted for myself happens. So we'll see. Good luck to me.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I am convinced that my like soulmate either doesn't exist or like doesn't live in the US. So we're there.
Yeah. And that's yeah. That for me, like the difficult thing about it is like I just recently started flying. I think I got on my first plane either 4 or 5 years ago. In my job, 34. So like I was like 28, 27 years old, right? So get like now like the world is big, but like it's gotten smaller for me. So
I mean, yeah, you've been everywhere, just about.
You know, so now and with it being smaller, like I feel like I could make like certain relationships where like my last relationship that I was in that recently just ended, it was a long distance thing and she lived in New York. So like, you know, me being like, oh yeah, like I go to New York pretty often. That's just a flight away. Like, you know, like I could make these things happen. Didn't work. I'm an in-person person. I'm a quality time person. I'm a physical touch person. And so, you know, it's only a matter of time before like the relationship doesn't become real to me, unfortunately. However, now that I'm out of that, now like, you know, again, like I feel like all the pretty girls are like overseas or like all the pretty girls are like, you know, states away. And I'm like, maybe I could give it another try, but I gotta be like, no. You know, it's
right.
It's torture. It's absolute torture. You know, so you know, plus I'm in LA. Dating in LA is just
Godspeed.
I don't wish it on anybody. Anybody who could find someone in LA and make it work and last, hats off to you. Hats off to you. You found the One Piece. Also, I want my next relationship to be someone who watches One Piece. I want to like cuddle in One Piece. That's the goal. That's what I need. I'm trying to make it a prerequisite for like any future prospects. So if there's somebody cute who likes to listen to mental health podcasts out there and loves One Piece and wants to heal together, let me know. I'm all right. Yeah. I'm a solid 7. I'm a solid 7. You know?
Hush. My gosh.
7's a lucky number.
This is slightly turning into a speed dating episode. I love it.
Listen, no, I don't want to take up all your time with that, so I'll just leave that as like a
No, I
2-minute
love it.
block.
I think it's hilarious. I'm over
Yeah,
here like I love how many rabbit holes we have basically gone down. We love a
that's
good rabbit hole.
what I do. I'm very
Yeah.
very scatterbrained. Most people don't know this because my videos seem so focused, but I'm a very scatterbrained person. So
I feel like as a content creator, you understand that for every like together polished video, there are at least 10 takes where you are stopping and being like, what the fuck did I just say? I mean, even in this
yeah,
interview, literally the
you did
first
that with the
intro
intro.
didn't make it. I could
You did
not
it with
say
the intro, yeah.
aficionado correctly, and I second guessed myself halfway through the word. So
Sometimes I
that'll
can't
be
say
on a
milk
blooper reel.
correctly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't even say milk. So
Hmm. You make it happen. So to kind of wrap a little bit,
Mhm.
what are some projects that are coming out soon? What's next for you? What are things that you can legally talk about?
I like how you said legally. Thank you for that. You
I'm
saved
sure
me.
NDA is like your middle name at this point.
Yeah. Well,
Well, but
it is. It is. I have content that I'm sitting on for a year before I could say anything about it. But
whew,
there are some set visits that I have went to that I'm really excited about.
mhm.
Look for that in a year. But
Was that the Paul
I am
math we were just speaking about?
that's the Paul math. That's the Paul math. Yes. hmm I'm going to Africa in about 2 weeks. Going to Kenya. That's gonna be fun. It'll be my first time there. Africa's always been like a bucket list checkmark
Mhm.
place that I've always wanted to go to. That in Tokyo, and now like 2026 will be the year that I check off both of them, which was incredible.
That's incredible.
Doing some stuff with Nat Geo. Don't know what it is, but I'm really excited.
I'm here for it.
Then
I can't wait.
right, I'm super stoked. And this next one, I hesitate in saying so far because I'm still applying Paul math to it. Um, I'll just say that if all goes according to plan, I will be going from New York to Paris to London on a global tour for a release of a movie. Which the last time I did something like that was for Oppenheimer and Fast and Furious 10 or X, however you want to call it. So we'll see. But as far as that, like, we got some really good guests coming on the podcast. I mentioned like Andy Serkis is coming on. Like, for those who don't know, Andy Serkis is like a pioneer in acting when it comes to performance capture, motion capture. He played Smeagol, aka Gollum. He's currently filming the Hunt for Gollum movie. He also played Caesar in the Planet of the Apes films. He was Claw in Black Panther. He's honestly like he's just overall like just
He's
a legend
incredible.
in this game. He's great. But we have him coming. Tony Hale, who plays Forky in Toy Story 5, is going to be on the podcast this week as well. Haley Kiyoko is tomorrow. Just like a lot of like really, really cool guests like that I'm really excited about. Ooh, I just got like a really good text of somebody that I was like worried about. So that's great. That's a whole thing. Oh, Boots Riley as well is coming on the podcast to talk about his movie I Love Boosters, and Boots Riley is like fucking tastic. He did things like Sorry to Bother You. He's also a great musician. Fun fact, first time I saw Sinners was in an empty IMAX screening room with Boots Riley and Ryan Coogler. It was all of our first time seeing it in 70 millimeter together. So I'll always hold that in my heart. We could talk about that on our podcast, Get Wrecked with Try Goofy. But yeah, just really cool podcast guests. There's some partnerships that we're working on right now that I'm really excited about. Ones that have to do with music and film. TBD on where we are at with that, but we are moving on those things. But yeah, no, like got a lot of cool, interesting things on the horizon. San Diego Comic-Con. Hope to see you guys there. You should go to San Diego Comic-Con, Heather. Like you would.
I was
would
literally so everyone has been on my ass about you need to start going to conventions. Like in order to get like the next step, you need to go to conventions. You need to. So conventions are on the list for 2026. I'm going
what
to go
state
to
do you live in again?
New York.
Oh, New York Comic-Con, easy.
Oh God, I don't want to do the city. The city's insane. It's honestly easier for me to get on a plane and go across the country.
New York, aren't you? You're upstate New York,
like
aren't you?
Buffalo Bills territory.
Yeah, okay. Because my ex lived in like the tri-state like area. So like the like
Yeah.
Pennsylvania and like
Yep.
Jersey and New York was like all like that spot. So I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I drove into the city from there. That's a hefty drive. I get it. But
Yeah.
but like get a little hotel like with some friends like near the
I have
Javits
friends that are
Center.
in San Diego, so I could probably crash on her couch. So you know what, guys? You might see me at
San Diego
San Diego
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con.
It's a
You just
vibe.
might.
You would love it. You would
I feel
love
like I
it.
would.
I'm telling you, it's a
Yeah.
lot to do. There's a lot of free things to do. There's a lot to see. Great food at the lamplight. Like some after parties are a lot of fun. Like San Diego
Mm-hmm.
Comic-Con, like I love going. I'm mad that it took me so long to go, but I couldn't afford it. So, but
Yeah.
now I get hired to come, so that's fun.
Hey, that's a big plus. That is a big plus.
Big plus.
That's the
Big
next
plus.
thing I'm working on. Like eventually we will get to the point where people actually want me somewhere and they're like, we'll make it happen. So
Yeah.
it's just you went the really fast route. I'm going the more like next rung on the ladder route, which honestly I am perfectly fine with.
Listen, I'm always shocked when I get an invitation to come back. So like you'll
Yeah.
you'll get
No,
there
it's
probably sooner than you think.
1000%. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what you're doing in Africa. Maybe Tom Cruise is going on a safari with you. Who knows?
Maybe we're
I don't know.
wrestling
Did Paul
lions
mention it?
together. So what if that was the case, Paul would say like you and Tom Cruise are gonna be wrestling lions together. I get there, psych, I'm wrestling lions with myself, no help. Because if there's
You're
anybody
gonna be
you
on
want
a
in your corner to
canoe
wrestle
with
lions,
hippos.
it's Tom Cruise. Oh no. But I would wrestle a lion before I wrestle a hippo.
Oh
I
hell
will
yeah! People are like, oh
hippos, people
hippos. I'm
don't
like, do
know.
you know how dangerous they are?
Hippos kill more people than lions.
Mm-hmm.
Hippos kill more
Because
people than lions.
they don't look dangerous.
No, apparently they're really fucking fast. Like they can't
They run
swim.
underwater.
They run underwater. They run underwater, which is insane. And their bite force, like they can literally like bite a crocodile in half.
Yeah,
They
I
can,
believe they have the strongest bite force in the world. I'm almost
yeah,
positive.
and they're hyper territorial. Hyper territorial. I
Mm-hmm.
saw a hippo fuck up a deer, like oh no, sorry, an antelope, because it was being chased by hyenas, and it fell into like the mud pit that the hippo was just chilling in. And the
Mm-hmm.
hippo got so pissed off that the antelope didn't get out of there in time that it took the fucking deer, bit it, and threw it to the fucking hyenas. It said, "All right, get out of here."
Well, it was probably a little faster than if the hyenas had gotten a hold of it. So
Yeah, he just said, "Be done with it, nature.
yeah,
You're done." So yeah, I don't mess with hippos.
hell no.
I'm good on that. I'm
Mm-mm.
good. I'm good. Nope, no hippos. They could
Yeah,
they
no,
could stay
thank you.
hungry.
Yep. Oh my God. Well, Juju, thank you so much for hopping on. And like we've said several times, you can catch Juju if you live under a rock and you don't know who Juju is. You can find him on the Get Wrecked, which is REC''D podcast with Straw Hat Goofy. And you can find that anywhere you get your podcasts. Yeah, Juju, thank you again so much for hopping on. And this chat
And
has been great.
look at this. My camera ran out of battery. Look at that.
No!
Look at that. Oh my God. Hold on. It's okay. I always keep spares. But that's perfect. That was like that is a sign. Like that's we have great timing.
I
Also
know.
that speaks to how like close we are because we get to have conversations for as long as a Canon battery lasts. And they last a long time.
I just that cracks me up. Like, look, this episode, there's been several things happened off camera. My dog decided to bark for the first time in months on an episode, and I'm just
honored.
like, great. So it's just been a chaotic episode. But honestly, it wouldn't be a Hot Mess Espresso episode if it went completely smoothly without any issues because we have to stay on brand here.
I was gonna say like we need a hot mess on the Hot Mess Espresso podcast.
Here we are. But yeah, Juju, thank you again so much. I'm so excited to see where all this is going to take you. I'm so honored to be on that journey with you. And thank you.
I will let you know. I hope to see you in New York.
Yeah, I may see you in San Diego. Who knows? All right, kids, I will catch you next week. And as always, stay hot and stay messy.